Welcome to my channel, Atieno Gola the lawyer, Karibuni Sana, and today I have a very important guest. She's the Vice Chairperson of the Judicial Service Commission, and you're going to be having a talk about the Judicial Service Commission, its roles, its mandates, and a little bit on the judiciary. I hope you enjoy the video. If you enjoy it, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much, Daktari, for joining me in today's show. And I'm really grateful that you made time. Yeah, so before we begin, I'd like you to introduce yourself more to my viewers so that they can understand who you are and what you do.
Thanks, Atieno, for having me. It's always a pleasure to be able to be given a platform to talk about myself and what I do. My name is Mercy Deche. Deche is my husband, and I've been around for 51 years. I don't shy from saying my age because it's a blessing from God. And of course, I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. I've been practicing for the last 27 years, and I have been, as you said, serving at the Judicial Service Commission for the last 4.5 years. I'm coming to the close of my term. I am the representative of the Law Society of Kenya, one of the two representatives to the JSC, and I am also the vice chair of the commission. So other than that, I teach at the University of Nairobi School of Law in the Mombasa campus, and I am also a consultant, mainly on legal issues generally, but specifically on women's rights, children's rights, areas around SGBV, and property rights.
Wow, thank you so much for that.
May I also add that I'm a mother of three.
Okay.
3 young men, 2 adults, and my last born is 12 years old. And I've been married for the last 24 years. Wow. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that elaborate introduction. So we're going to delve right into our discussion. And Dr. Deche, maybe will now furnish us with information about the JSC. What's the JSC all about? What are its constitutional mandates? And how was it created? Yes.
Thank you, Atieno. The Judicial Service Commission is one of the commissions, independent commissions established under Chapter 15 of the Constitution, but the JSC is particularly established under Article 171 of the Constitution. It is headed by the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya. The other members include representative of the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, High Court, the Magistracy, one each from those constituents. And apart from that, we have 2 representatives from the Law Society of Kenya. Like I said, I'm one of them. 2 representatives, non-lawyers, to represent the public, a representative of the Public Service Commission. The Attorney General also sits in that commission. So we are a total of 11 members. And the mandate of the JSC, apart from the general mandate given to independent commissions under Chapter 15, the mandate under Article 172, as per Article 172, is to promote the independence and accountability of the judiciary, and specifically to ensure that there is effective and transparent and expedient administration of justice. So that is the core mandate of the JSC.
Okay. I'm glad you've talked about it so that the public can understand what the Judicial Service Commission does. And maybe now your role as the Vice Chairperson, what do you do on a day-to-day basis?
When it comes to my role as the Vice Chair, let me say that my role is as vague and as nebulous as any other vice or any other deputy anywhere. So the role of a vice chair of the JSC is, there is no prescribed specific role for a vice chair. And so what a vice chair does is actually support the chair and represent the chair in their absence. For instance, I do chair meetings when the chair is away, or I perform any other role that the chair requests me or asks me to. So there is no specific role. And if you look at the definition of a chair under the JS Act, you'll find that actually any commissioner can be chair. So the role of the vice chair is not, it's not that peculiar. So because the definition, it says that the chair shall include the vice chair and any other member of the commission. So I feel privileged to have been elected, because it's elected by my peers at the commission as a vice chair. But what I do is mainly assist the chair, who is the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya.
Thank you so much for elaborating on that. And now we could maybe now talk about the achievements that the JSC has been able to do since its inception, because I think it has been there now for 10 years post the 2010 Constitution. So maybe you could elaborate on that.
Yes, thanks, Atieno, and thanks for talking about the post-2010 JSC, because JSC was actually there before even 2010, but it was really more like a wing of the executive. But with the post-2010 dispensation, we can actually talk about JSC properly so-called. And it has achieved a lot. And I am saying this not because I sit there, but when I compare it age-wise to its peer commissions, the peer commissions, by that I mean the Parliamentary Service Commission that has been around since independence, or the Public Service Commission that has been around since the early 50s. So JSC, the new look JSC has been around for only 10 years, as you say it. One of the achievements, of course, includes increasing the human resource capacity of the judiciary, the core staff of the judiciary, who are the judges and the magistrates. Over the last 10 years, JSC has been able to recruit over 300 judges and magistrates at all levels, all the way from Supreme Court, High Court, Courts of Equal Status, the Court of Appeal, and magistrates. So that is one of the achievements, and I would really call it an achievement, because JSC is the only agency, and you can check out that later, that conducts open and public interviews for the judges. There is no other agency that does that, or any other body. In fact, you will see that most of the times we see people being sworn in, you don't know what process they pass through. But the Commission has been able to do that in open and transparent processes that are, of course, open to public scrutiny. They are normally streamed live on both, at times, mainstream media and social media. And apart from the judges and magistrates, the Commission has managed to recruit a Chief Justice, 2 Deputy Chief Justices, and the like. Apart from the recruitment, and these, of course, I say, sadly, we have been able to deal with cases of disciplinary cases or complaints, both against the judges and magistrates and judicial staff. And this, again, is the only body that handles disciplinary cases without discriminating, all the way from the top to the lowest. So you'll never hear someone stepping aside without knowing what has happened. So that is an achievement. The other achievement that maybe you may not be aware of is that we are currently midway implementing something we call the organization review. And what I mean is that the JSC, upon advice of some consultants who are hired courtesy of the World Bank, a decision was made to review the organization structure of the administration wing of the judiciary, because they are very important in supporting the core function of the judiciary. Those are the non-legal staff, or the non-legal wing, or the non-judicial wing of the judiciary. And there is that ambitious review that is ongoing, whereby we want at the end of the day to change the culture of the administration staff of the judiciary, and to have it manned by people who are competent, and to also have it manned with some form of equity, whereby you don't find some courts are over-resourced and others are under-resourced. So that is what I would say for now.
Yes, thank you for talking about that, because I think the public might just be knowing that there's a Judicial Service Commission, and they have to also see that, the taxes that they are paying are actually doing the right thing in the commissions created by the Constitution.
Yes, and in fact, now I'm also remembering one other achievement, if I may call it so. It is about having visibility and presence in far-flung areas, because we now have courts in almost all counties. Unfortunately, not all of them, but we have high courts in all counties, and we have courts also in almost all sub-counties. And the dream or the goal is to have courts in all sub-counties. Where we have not managed to have a presence, we have mobile courts in the remote parts. So the Commission has really been trying to take justice closer to the people.
Thank you for saying that, because it is important that people see that indeed we are making efforts to deliver justice to all Kenyans. Yeah. So in your tenure as the vice chairperson, what are some of the challenges you have witnessed or that you have faced as a commission?
The challenges are, there are quite a number. And I would be failing if I didn't start with the most obvious one. That has to do with the budgetary allocation. The Commission operates, and not just the Commission, the judiciary as well. But let me confine myself to the Commission. It operates under a very tight budget. Again, if you compare it with the budget of its peer commissions. So that is one of the challenges, because if we are not able to have money, then you really cannot function. And at times we are allocated money, but something happens and the budget is slashed. For instance, in 2017, after the decision regarding the presidential elections, the budget was slashed by 75%. So we were left with 25% to work with, and we had spent a big chunk of that 25%. So we were crippled. So that is one of the challenges. Then the other challenge is that the commissioners work part-time. This is a part-time commission, but it does full-time work. It is so that is a challenge. The workload is so high, but we are all engaged elsewhere. I have my permanent and pensionable job elsewhere. I also do consultancies, but I have to serve in this commission anyway. I requested and campaigned for the job, so I am not complaining. So, but that is a challenge, because all the commissioners are either judges or judicial officers, or the others are working elsewhere. That's another challenge. The other challenge I have encountered here is that the positions in the commission for commissioners are not always promptly filled. We have had instances where commissioners have not been replaced. Those who come in through election are elected and then they are not replaced promptly. We have a case in point like Justice Wasame's case, and he was away for a year. And then when the presidential nominees, if I call them that, when they needed to be replaced, it was not done that promptly, and even when it was done, there was a court case. So the end result of that was that for a whole year, we operated at a capacity of 6 out of 11. That's just the bare minimum for quorum. So whenever one of us got sick, then the work of the commission would be crippled. So those are some of the challenges that we have been going through as a commission. Yes.
Okay, thank you for elaborating that.
And of course now there is most of the times the work that we do needs some other processes to complete. Like we recommend judges for appointment to the president for appointment. We all know that we have gone through the exercise of recommending 41 persons for appointment by the president. That has not been done despite a host of court orders. And unfortunately, even one nominee has passed on, which is very sad, waiting for the appointment. So when the commission does its work, then the person who's supposed to complete the work is not able to complete it, then that is normally frustrating. And it looks like a waste of public resources. Remember, our interviews are even public interviews. So that is another major challenge.
For sure. Thank you for highlighting those. And I hope we can try as a commission, you can try as a commission to try and see how, or the stakeholders involved can try to improve, Yeah, that one will be discussed later, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so now we can go to the image of the judiciary to the public. How has the JSC improved the image of the judiciary? I think one of them I could say, of course, is by now opening up more court stations, because at least justice is seen to be done. If there's more presence of the courts in all the counties, or what do you think?
Yes, there is that. The commission is trying to have to facilitate the presence of courts in all the counties, of course, subject to budgetary allocation, because it all boils down to finances and funds. I would say that I would be candid enough to say that we have not done so well in as far as the projecting our image to the public is concerned. A lot of people still do not know what we do. We could do better in that area, and we are trying to do that. But one of the ways in which we had started engaging or projecting a better image was by starting a conversation, an annual public engagement with all stakeholders. By stakeholders, I mean all the agencies that deal with administration of justice, the media, of course, the Law Society of Kenya, the NGOs, the governmental and non-governmental agencies, everybody. And we started that last year, whereby we sat down and sent out representations asking the people, who do you think we are and how can we improve? And we got all these submissions, and with all those submissions or memorandum, we sat down with all the stakeholders at Safari Park last year in May, and we condensed what they were saying in order to see how to improve. And I may say that is the feedback we got informed the memoranda that we sent to the BBI, because we did send a memoranda to the BBI. And we were hoping that these would be, we use the feedback also to improve ourselves, because they were saying what is wrong with the JSC, what is wrong with the judiciary, because they are those, we thought it's important to have that kind of a channel. Unfortunately, this year we were not able to hold it in May because of COVID. So that is one of the ways. Of course, the public is also represented by two members here, and they try their best also to reach out to the public. Other than that, the Chief Justice normally holds an annual State of the Judiciary address, the SOJA report, that I believe is coming in the next couple of weeks. And in that, the CJ is able to address the whole nation about the state of the judiciary. And once that happens, it's normally televised live. I don't know how many people get to watch it, and even in social media. And from there, it goes to the National Assembly for debate. Yeah, that is a legal requirement. It goes there for debate and deliberation. And we know that the members of the National Assembly represent the people. So they are able to see what is happening in the judiciary and in the JSC, and they are supposed to give us feedback. So those are the mechanisms that are there. Once in a while also, we let in the public on what we are doing. Like we have just finished interviewing legal researchers. Next week we'll go to the senior legal researchers, and there were tweets about it, both on and there was also a lot of it was broadcasted in the mainstream and social media, so that people get to know what we do about that. But like I said, there is room for improvement. Yes.
Sure. I'm loving that you're candid about your achievements and the challenges. Yes.
The truth sets us free.
For sure, for sure. Now we can talk about the independence of the commission itself, and mostly the judiciary. Do you see that the judiciary has been able to maintain its independence despite the harsh political climate that it has been operating in?
I would say, I would answer that question with a historical lens, looking at where we have come from. We have come from a time where there was totally no independence, and where the judiciary and like I said also, the JSC were just captives of the executive. So looking at it historically, we have come a long way. We have really come a long way. And I would say that I don't think there is any judge who makes a decision based on a phone call that they have received from some big shot anywhere, or they have to look behind their backs to I really don't think, and if that normally happens, then it would be unfortunate. But we've moved away from that. So, and we have seen that there are judges who are able to make bold decisions, and a lot of them against the executive. So to me, that is a measure of independence. So there has been independence. But having said that, let me say that the independence without financial independence is problematic independence. And although the Constitution provides for judiciary fund, the Commission has not yet been able to operationalize it because of very many factors. So financial independence is still a myth, and a real myth here at the judiciary. Yeah, because if you do not have the funds to do what you need to do, then you cannot really claim to be independent. So until the day when we will have a functional judiciary fund, and the judiciary is allocated sufficient funds, then we will not be able to talk of 100% independence, because for now, our accounting officer, the CRJ, normally has to really do a lot of walking around with the ball, begging and negotiating here and there. So that frustrates independence.
I'm glad you're also candid on that, because it's important that the other arms of government to understand that the judiciary cannot work without the funds, right?
Yeah, sure.
So we are going to talk about Article 159 of the Constitution on how judicial authority is to be exercised by the courts and the tribunals. Now, there is a notion sometimes by Kenyans that justice is up to the highest bidder. You know, I mean, it's all about if you're able to afford the court or access to the court. But yet, what Article 159 says that, you know, justice should be delivered without regards to any persons, and paraphrasing, and also without regard to any procedural technicalities. What will be your comment on that?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one, because the perception is there that justice is for the rich. And there are examples even to back that up. So who am I to deny? But let me say this. You know, justice is dispensed in court. But there are many players out there in order to now get... to bring out the sum total of what we may call an end result of a process, so that we are talking about justice or injustice. And most of the people normally see that a poor person who was carrying a snake was sentenced very fast, and then a person who has murdered is still out on the loose. And the perception is there. And I don't want to be very much on the defensive, but to say this, some of this perception is as a result of the laws that are in place, like the laws that dealing with the wildlife and wildlife trophies and all that. They are very, very harsh and strict, and a lot of them are offenses of strict liability, just being in possession. And you see, a judge or a magistrate is there to implement or to just go by the law. They do not make the laws. So of course, when the public does not understand that, then it becomes problematic. Also, a lot of the laws, again, because ASECA is also another statute that brings out that that kind of thinking, that the rich are getting away with it. And you find that some of the offenses, where someone is charged with an offense, where the act actually provides that the sentence shall be either a fine of this amount and not exceeding this amount, or a sentence of this number of months, again, the magistrate or the judge, their hands are tied. So there is that aspect of the court has to comply with the statutory provisions. The other aspect is, unfortunately, it is the rich who afford good counsel, good legal advice. And there's nothing wrong with getting good legal advice that is able now to take a case to a trajectory that a person who is unrepresented might not be able to take. So that is the other aspect. But I don't think that there is any judge or magistrate who sits down and looks at a person and says, this one is poor, I am not going to give them justice expeditiously, or this one is rich, I am going to do X, Y, Z. Of course, we all know that corruption may be a factor. I have heard of those kind of stories, but I want to believe that it has to do with the first two factors that I have said. Yes, but the perception is there. Yes.
So maybe how could we improve that, especially now that the judiciary is tied on one of the important rights on access to justice. They're supposed to ensure that Kenyans can access this justice. So what do you think as a commission or as the judiciary they can do to improve this perception to the public?
Atieno, you're really fixing me today. But for me, Article 159 is the whole spirit about it is expeditious disposal of cases and administering justice without delay. So if that could be achieved across the board as the norm for everyone, then that perception would be obliterated. And how can we achieve that? I think we can achieve that by just as far as possible removing the known barriers of access to justice. And remember, when we are talking about access to justice, it's a wheel. See, a criminal case will involve the DPP's office, it will involve the investigators, the police, it will involve an advocate, it will involve so many players, so that if all the barriers that all those players and face are removed, then we can be able to maybe achieve or have expeditious disposal of justice, and the perception would be removed. And how can this be done? Number one, I think there is still a need to put in a lot of resources to all agencies that deal with administration of justice, and not just the judiciary. We also need to put in resources to those who do investigations. How many are they? To the people who work at the DPPs, how many are they enough? Are they well paid? So that we do not have people not staying in a place long enough to serve because of poor pay. So we need to put in proper resources to all the agencies that deal with administration of justice. And for instance, so that in a case we don't have to wait for one person, the one who examines documents. The last I heard of, we only had one in the entire country. So if they're in this court and you have to wait in the other court and the other, there's certainly going to be delay. And the people who will feel the effect of that delay, are the most vulnerable ones, because someone might be able to be told by the advocate, or we will not be there. If you have counsel, you'll be able to be informed even earlier, or someone can be able to tell you when there's going to be a delay or not. But now the vulnerable people are the ones who suffer. So we need a lot of resources, and I'm not saying this to excuse the judiciary from their responsibility. Those who are charged with the hearing and disposing cases should also do their part. That's the judges and magistrates, so that we do not have lazy ones who are delaying. But that's what I think. We need to take administration of justice more seriously, and put all the agencies in proper resources.
Thank you for your answer. I hope you don't feel that I have come out too strongly on that.
No. It's important. It's an important conversation. Because if we don't address it, then people can lose confidence in the courts and go to the streets, or vigilantism and all that. So it is a very critical and a very important question. And I remember when we were making presentations to the BBI, we did tell them that we've reached a place where we do not just want to now only talk about the judiciary. We have to look at the whole package, so that we were telling them, that team, that you need to start looking at what does a person who works for the DPP earn, so that we avoid the situation where we advertise for a job and we are having the entire DPP or a person who works for any other agency, the AG's office, wanting to join the judiciary because there is no synchronization of salaries, or the resources are better in this agency more than the other. So it is an important conversation. And or when we go out to the counties and we are talking to the county commissioners and the local leaders about administration of justice, we tell them it's okay, we can build a court in place X, but if there is no prison, it adds up to nothing, because we are now telling police officers, after the people have taken plea and they cannot be they cannot raise the bail, to take them back to the police stations. And it's dangerous to drive people, suspects, over long distances. So we have to invest in all areas, whether it's in prisons, in police stations, and in human resource across all agencies.
Thank you so much for that. Maybe now, as we conclude, you could share your parting shot to my viewers and to our Kenyans about now the judiciary and the Judicial Service Commission.
My parting shot with regard especially to the judiciary is an arm of government, and there are those who call it the third arm of government. I think that has the effect of minimizing it. I will not call it the third arm of government. It is an arm of government. And my parting shot would be, let's take it seriously. Let's take our judiciary seriously, because it's very important. It plays an important role in maintaining the rule of law, which is very, very critical for any civil society. Because if we do not take care of our judiciary, we run the risk of going back to the days of Thomas Hobbes. Remember Thomas Hobbes? When life was nasty, brutish, and short. Yeah? Because people can just decide to take up, to take their law into their hands. So let's take care. And by taking care of the judiciary, I mean, let's not just throw unnecessary below the belt blows, like the way we wake up to banners on flyovers saying so and so is corrupt, just to just smear the smear campaign against the judiciary. It is not warranted, although accountability is critical. But let's take care of it. And why do I say this? Today, you will be the one hanging a poster or a banner across a flyover. Tomorrow, you will be under arrest, and you will need that judiciary. You will need an independent and solid judiciary to be able to take care of your rights. So for me, that is critical. We take it seriously. We protect it and its independence, even as we hold it to account, because today you are on this side where you do not want an independent judiciary is a threat to you, but tomorrow you will be on the other side where you actually badly need that independent judiciary. And as we say, dunia ni duara. You don't know where you'll be tomorrow. Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Deche. I am privileged again.
You're most welcome.
Yes, and I'm sure we can continue this conversation in other platforms.
Certainly. My door is always open. As you've seen, I have no office here, but we can plan and we can meet anywhere, even for over a cup of coffee. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay.